Well, there it is, folks. The national debt has officially gone over $34.222 trillion, climbing at an incredible rate. No surprise there. It's just going to keep going up, and we're going to keep documenting it here on this channel as part of a series that I've been doing really since near the beginning of the secret messages that the debt clock people have been giving to us. If you find content like this interesting, well, I hope you will consider following along on the channel and subscribing and pressing that like button if you find value in the content here, because this message that, as we're going to see here in a moment, is quite eye-opening. There is a change here, and it's a two paths to slavery. So let's get right into it as we explore. Look at that. The debt per citizen, the debt per taxpayer, these numbers are mind-blowing. It's crazy. And this is only going to get worse, folks. And it's like they know it and they care not, because it really doesn't affect us from day to day. But in reality, it is a step towards, well, we're going to get to that in a minute, because this is the message that they're showing us here. The debt clock people now have a Twitter page. And when you see their Twitter page, here, let's go back over here. We can see the secret message here. When we open it up, it tells us to follow us on Twitter. Of course, I've already followed on Twitter, so it's not showing us there. But that is the secret message, to follow us on X, on Twitter. So when we go over there, that must be the new place where the debt clock messages are going, is over on Twitter. Although I kind of like them here too. But nonetheless, I don't know if that's going to be the case where they're going to start being published over there, because for the first time we see that they have it there, a link for it to be shown. And I just found this out. Now we're looking at this because they skipped the last debt clock message, and they have this secret window surrounded in black, which makes me think that since the theme of Twitter is dark and black, well, this is where it is. And so this gets us to this message. This is the message that they posted on Twitter now, and it is quite a message indeed. It is a quote from John Adams. All of these perplexities, confusion, and distress in America arises not from the defects of the Constitution or Confederation, not from want of honor or virtue, so much as from downright ignorance of the nature of coin, credit, and circulation. Boom! And that's John Adams 6 years before he died. He goes on to say that there are two ways to conquer and enslave a nation. One is by debt, or one is by the sword, and the other is by debt. Indeed, he is exactly right. Eye-opening wisdom from our founding fathers. If only we knew history and what the context of why our founders set the system up to be what it is, and why the Constitution is the longest surviving document in world history that we still follow. At least we're supposed to follow. It's still law, right? Nonetheless, we are essentially ignoring it a lot these days. And a lot of it is because of ignorance, for sure. But some of it is downright are the people in power that are taking advantage of that ignorance. That's for sure. So we can see that behind this message we have a sunset behind the Capitol, and which makes us think that maybe the ideas that we hold dear are sunsetting too for now. We can see the angel here in the background in this graphic that's there looking down on us. Some people theorize it may be Michael the archangel or what have you, not sure. But this is an image that we've seen before, that background with the Capitol. But nonetheless, we see there's an image of John Adams, our second president. Yes, indeed, our first vice president. And we look down here, we can see what it's on top of. We can see that we have an image there of the Federal Reserve Building. The Federal Reserve Building is in full view there with translucent images on top of it of the Federal Reserve seal, the World Bank, and the International Monetary Fund. All of these tied together with kind of globalism. And we can see kind of the ominous dark hue around that oval. And you can see the green around it kind of represents, much to a degree, this idea, especially with the faded arc here that you can see there, that's kind of tied into the current system from which we find ourselves a part. That is an enslavement based off of debt. And Washington is forcing it and bearing it down upon us there. We can see green is the color of money, the greenback. Yes, indeed, the dollar bill. Now we see here, we're going to get to that in a moment. But what is different and new this time is not only this kind of dark, the light here and this surrounding here with the lights turning to red, and then we've got this the circular border here of the oval. We also have darkness kind of as well, almost like it's meshing in with the current fiat currency systems that we have in play now. But behind it, though, we have the Matrix. That's right, the Matrix. And we've seen those movies. You kind of know what it's talking about there. What is real, what is not real. And in a sense, these digits flowing across the screen could very well easily represent kind of the matrix of money that's really not real, in so much that it's just digitized ones and zeros. And it could be the coming future too as well, which is more tied to 1984, but that's where CBDCs are coming into play. And those will certainly be digital as well, digital money. On top of that, we have our highly recognized 100 note here, 100 IOUs, not a federal note, no reserves, we can see there. And we have Wilson there as the President Wilson, Woodrow Wilson, with the nation's flag of nations behind him there, representing his failed attempt at globalism back in 1917. The League of Nations, stemming from his 14 points plan, ended up not working. It did come into play in 1945 with the UN. Nonetheless, there it is. These Federal Reserve notes, which are fraudulent and unpayable because of the debt and interest that they make. United Racketeers, what this is. We know Thomas Paine, we think that might be a representative there. That's what I'm thinking. And then we have X there. So very interesting. We can see that it's surrounded here by yellow, orange, and red border here, and black. So that's kind of interesting. In the background here is that blue color we've been seeing as of late. The first time the debt clock people have moved their messages over to X or Twitter. So that's an interesting change. Will they continue to be there? We'll find out. We'll cover them there as well. And so I hope you will let me know what your thoughts are about this video and about the interpretation of this message here. I hope you found this video informative, insightful, and educational. And by the way, I have a whole playlist of these videos. I've captured every single message that the debt clock people have sent since October when they started creating these. And stay tuned for the channel, because I'm going to have some eye-opening information about the debt clock and the people behind the debt clock. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that. But the debt clock is an invaluable service. They've added so many different functions on the debt clock here, so many different numbers that some of it we're not sure exactly what some of it means. Some of here it looks like it's a little bit out of place. They've got this trade balance, money creation. We've got a lot of different things here. So very fascinating information here indeed. So let me know there what your thoughts about it. We've covered a lot of different things. I recently just covered in my ongoing series that's several years old now about the dollar to silver ratio. But we're probably going to be covering as well the paper to silver ratio and paper to gold ratio. Very important numbers indeed. That also gives you an understanding about how really truly valuable gold and silver are compared to the derivatives market. So there you have it. So let me know what your thoughts are. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you will check out some of the other videos in this playlist called The Secrets of the Debt Clock. And let me know what your thoughts are. I post those almost a day or so after the messages are posted on the debt clock, or now on Twitter or X. So I hope you will check some of those out. I would like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch, and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.